episode of Filmaholic. I'm Matthew. This is Ethan. This is Abel, and we're here to bring you an episode of Top Shelf. A Top Shelf episode, we take a list and we rank whatever the category, the topic is for that week. This week we are doing favorite characters of the decade. So that's any characters that happen to be in a film between 2010 to 2019. We're taking our favorites, ranking them. And to start things off, Ethan, you want to go ahead and give us your honorable mentions?
Yep. All right. So starting with number 15, I just switched it before we started. I have Margot Ross Spiegelman from Paper Towns, played by Cara Delevingne. Yes. don't smirk. Okay. I don't know. Ever since I watched this is the character that I like the most out of that movie. Maybe 10 minutes of screen time altogether, but it's just like the perfect representation of what most teenagers want. It's like to just do exactly what they want, be happy, and then just go live the perfect life and not have to worry about anything. And she makes all the other characters like question how they feel about her throughout the whole movie, whether their feelings are real or if it's just what they've been built up to be. 14, I got Thor and all his franchise movies, Avengers. He would have been higher if we had had better Thor movies to begin with. 13, this will surprise you because it switched up from what we were talking about the other day. I have Peter B. Parker.
Okay.
From Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse. Miles Morales did not make the cut.
Well, what changed?
I rewatched a couple scenes. That's where a lot of these changed. I kept watching a couple scenes and how I felt about which ones I liked the most. And as far as like the emotional development it gave him from kind of what we already knew, like losing MJ, how you cope with that, and then how he kind of bounced back to try to be the hero at the end. Number 12, I have Lady Bird, from Lady Bird, obviously. Love this coming of age movie. And like I say, it's just kind of a more developed version, I think, of Margot Ross Spiegelman. She doesn't exactly just disappear, but she does go, across the country to live her dream, whether that works out for her or not. And then to end out my honorable mentions, I have Kylo Ren from Star Wars Episode 7 through 9.
Oh, I didn't know there was a ninth one.
Yeah, you should check it out. It comes out soon.
Yeah. Okay.
I really, it didn't used to be my favorite of the franchise, the last trilogy anyway. I did like Ray more, but when I rewatch them, even just little scenes, like I like him and his character growth and development, the choices they gave him, more than overall for anybody else. So he made the cut, but, if Episode 9 would have been different, he would have been higher as well. But let the past die.
So for number 15 on my honorable mentions here, to start things off, I have Adonis Creed from Creed and Creed 2. I thought he was a solid new character, a well-deserved character to carry on the Rocky franchise, the legacy. I think as the child of Apollo Creed. Obviously, he didn't grow up, raised by Apollo because he obviously died. But he didn't grow up with that money. He didn't grow up with that family originally until Apollo's wife found him, and he got taken in, and he grew up that way. But I love the growth from him from the start of Creed throughout that film and into Creed 2. His relationship with Rocky. His relationship with Tessa Thompson's character.
Bianca.
Yeah. Really good. Michael B. Jordan's performance is incredible, I think. Looking back on it, I think he should have got an Oscar nomination for the first Creed for 2015. Definitely better than some of the other people that were nominated that year and leading actor, the category. But yeah, so that's my number 15. My number 14 is a character that was created by Quentin Tarantino, and that's Dr. King Schultz from Django Unchained. This character has grew on me a lot over the years because originally wasn't even my favorite character in the movie. Um, didn't really see that much to him. The more I watch it each time, the more like developed I feel like that character is, and how well written he is, and how I like it. And um, I don't think it's as far as like performance wise, it's not better than Walt's performance as Hans Landa and Inglorious Bastards, but it's a completely different character, so it can't be the same level. Um, but I think that performance is incredible too, and I just we talked about it in the last top shelf episode with one of the scenes being my favorite when he kills Calvin Candy, and I just love that decision that he makes to do that instead of actually shaking this man's hand. So that made it on the list for me at number 14. Number 13, I'm gonna have Luke Glanton from The Place Beyond the Pines, which also goes back to one of my favorite scenes that we talked about in the last episode. Really liked Ryan Gosling's performance here, but really liked Luke's character. Kind of like this outcast type guy, and he finds out that he has a kid and does what he has to and everything he can to try to give this kid a chance of a good life. And obviously it doesn't turn out how he wants throughout the film, but really like that character. My number 12 is Woody from Toy Story. I was stuck. And there's a couple other characters we'll get to later, where I had the conversation with you, Ethan, where like I wasn't sure if I wanted to include characters that had appeared in films before this decade. I ultimately made the decision to include them. I mean, Woody's one of my favorite characters of all time. So,
Yeah.
and Toy Story 4 is my second favorite film that he's in, Woody. So out of the four Toy Story films. So I mean, he had that and Toy Story 3 in this decade, two of those films, so I had to include it. So I have him at number 12, and my number 11, almost making it into my actual list, but not quite getting there, is one that you also had in your honorable mentions, and that's Peter B. Parker from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man and Peter Parker it's my favorite comic book character. So this is my favorite actual like version of Peter Parker on the big screen. So that's why I made it to my list there. Abel?
All right. Number 15 will be Nyla Sayers from Black Swan. For me, it's just because like the character is just crazy for like perfection, not just like 99%, but like 100% or more, and that's just something I think anyone can find relatable for whatever career or whatever you're doing in your life. You will literally lose your mind, and plus it's a pretty good performance by Natalie Portman. 14, I have Detective Loki, Jake Gyllenhaal from Prisoners.
I had a feeling that was going to be on our list.
Yeah. This guy's just like persistent. Like even if he doesn't fully yet feel satisfied, he's still going to continue. If he just has the sensation it's like something is still wrong, he's just going to keep going until he finally kind of goes like, all right, I'm good, I'm done. Then at 13 will be Logan from Logan, Hugh Jackman. This is just a man like, he's like at the lowest point of his life. He's just kind of like, screw this, screw that. But he's like I wouldn't say like necessarily he sees the window at first, but then at the end he kind of goes like, all right, this is my way, like, to like carry on the next generation. 12th will be Steve Jobs from Jobs, Michael Fassbender. Honestly, I just like it because of the performance, and plus just how they wrote Steve Jobs in this, just make him like five steps ahead, 6 steps ahead. 11, this is like more recent. Peter B. Parker. Yeah. So it made the list for me just because like obviously if you get your ass beat physically, you can come back from that. Anyone can. It's going to take a while, but you can come back. But like when you're just kind of like emotionally or like mentally done, it's just like it's possible, but that's gonna be up to you, and like you're gonna have to crawl yourself out of that mental hole.
Here we go to our top 10. Ethan, you gonna kick us off with your number 10?
Number 10. It's getting real. I've got my boy Keanu Reeves with John Wick for his trilogy.
Almost made him honorable mentions.
Yeah, it should have. I don't know. This character is come back for his whole career, but this character, like a few others on my list, are just the only way to describe it is just so cool. Like everything about him, like his way he talks, his movements, the way he dressed, like confidence he has. No matter what happens, he's always in control of the room, and everybody knows that that's John Wick. But like I say, you start with the emotional trouble, like losing his wife, and then his dog, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's what puts him up there for me, being close to one of my favorites of the decade.
Taking retribution for his dog.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, lost his wife too. They didn't kill his wife, but
exactly that they killed the dog.
All over a fucking dog.
They took his car too. That was real. But like I say, even throughout the whole trilogy, you start expanding on his past more, like who he was, where he came from, like especially in the third movie is what they did a lot with. But yeah, number 10 for me is John Wick.
Number 5.
Okay.
Yeah, man, like, yeah, I'm with Ethan on this, man. This man just walks in, like, this man can, like, he's right up there, like, with, like, for me, like, with James Bond, like, just, like, the swagger, like, the tuxedos, and, like, I remember when he was, like, suited up with that, Killing Stranger song,
yeah,
Marley Manson, that's pretty badass, and also, like, in the first movie, in the first 30 minutes, you don't see him with any kind of weapon, you don't see him fighting anyone, like, it's just pretty much, like, for the screenplay and the characters to build up the myth of John Wick. Like, this man is like if Messi and Ronaldo were put together and were made killers. Like, you have a machine and magician just put in one.
I love that you bring all these sports references to the show, but I have no idea.
Hell yeah, we gotta grow this. We gotta grow this. I'll probably do a review one day, shirtless. I don't know.
But he's kind of like Dr. Schultz from Django. Like, he has a code, and that's what he sticks to.
Yeah. So for my number 10, I have K from Blade Runner 2049.
That was my number 9.
I figured it was somewhere on your list. That we're gonna be getting.
That was it.
One of Ryan Gosling's best performances. I really love the character. You make a Blade Runner sequel that doesn't show Harrison Ford for majority of the film, and yet Ryan Gosling's character can like take you through this film and keep you interested and keep you engaged. Diving into what it means to be a human, to have a soul, and how he just remains just calm throughout most of the entire film.
Well, yes, it's just the fact that when you start the movie from the trailer, you think he's a replicant. Then there's a small twist, like, oh no, he's not. He's actually a real person. He just thinks he is, and it turns out no, he's been a replicant the whole time. But it just goes through that whole wave of emotion, like you said, what it means to be a human.
At number 10, I have Bond, James Bond. This guy, like, well, I did mention earlier, like, he's like right up there with John Wick when it comes to his code and stuff. Like, Daniel Craig's performance for me is like right up there. I'll probably debate it. I don't know if it's like better than Sean Connery, but it is up there, better than like Pierce Brosnan and some of the other dudes.
How dare you?
Yeah. I mean,
Shut the fuck down now.
That wasn't James Bond though. That should have been.
Yeah, but I just honestly just love the character a lot, just how smooth he is.
That Spectre was a smooth shit, wasn't it?
Let's see.
All right.
Yeah, number 9 was K from Blade Runner 2049. I got number 8. I've got Jackson Maine from A Star Is Born. Hands down, the best performance of the last decade. I will not hear any dispute of this. Bradley Cooper is
I think Jake Gyllenhaal won on our awards.
Yeah.
I think the awards were rigged behind the scenes.
I don't know.
Oh, you think I failed?
I can't prove it yet, but I'll find it and I'll leak it out.
Yo, Matt, did you get my deposit, by the way?
I'm still waiting on it, actually.
Best, like I said, best part of the movie. Overall, what Bradley Cooper brought with this character, and I haven't seen all of them, but you're talking about a movie that's been made 4 times at this point, and you've got to find something else to do with the character to make people like him, or actually care for him at least. And Bradley Cooper's performance definitely helps that with the struggle he has with his addiction, pills, drugs, alcohol, everything, and then even just being addicted to songwriting and performing, because he could have just gave that up to fix everything really with his health, and just didn't. He wanted to be there with the fans and with his wife at all costs, and it ultimately cost him everything just to make her and everybody else happy for what he thought.
So going on to my number 9 is one of my favorite characters of all time as well, and that's Han Solo. He kind of appeared, he starred in 2 films in this decade. Obviously in The Force Awakens, it was played once again by Harrison Ford. And then Alden Ehrenreich played him in the spinoff or the standalone Solo film in 2018. It was a prequel film about him. I'm including both of these as far as like him being on my list, because in Force Awakens, we got the same character we knew and love, but we added age, we added more emotional impact to him. The stuff that he's went through with Kylo, separation with Leia, all of that added to him, and having to deal with all that, but still seeing an older, aged version of Han. And I love that. I loved his decision in the film to go to Ben to try to turn him again, not giving up on his son, but also because Leia gives him that motivation, and he loves Leia and he wants to do what is going to make her happy, and ultimately that's to bring Ben home, and that's his final thing is to do that, and he ends up dying. But even when he dies, you see his hand touch Kylo's face, and just that acting from Harrison Ford in that scene I thought was really good. But then also with Solo with Alden Ehrenreich, I know some people, I know you don't really feel like that's the same character. To me, it works because it is a younger version of the character we first were introduced to, and it's before a lot of things happen to him. So I think it's enough there to make me believe it's him. But by the end of this film, he's went through more stuff as far as like having his mentor, who has taught him all of these different things, betray him, which is one of the things he actually taught him. Having to kill him, and then having the woman that he loved at that point also betray him, and showing his trust issues moving forward. But they're still showing how this character has a heart of gold.
At number 9, did you want me to say this name with an accent? No? Okay, all right.
I don't know what the name is.
All right, okay, all right. At number 9, I have Mama Coco from Pixar. Coco.
Okay.
I'll explain why, my guy.
Just out of nowhere.
If either of you are suffering hair loss, I'll make you lose your hair a bit more. Because all the stress won't bring. Nah, I'm just messing with you. All seriousness though, I picked Mama Coco just for what she symbolized. Well, as like in the movie and also like in the Hispanic culture. Because like, obviously whenever you like in the movie, she's like the reason why the movie's like, she's basically what the movie is about. Even if she's not there the whole entire time, she is the main protagonist. Like, she's the reason why the family's together. she is the reason why forgot what Hector basically risked it all to become successful, not just for Coco but also for his wife. And she's also the reason like why Miguel is just the way he is. Like, even if she didn't have an influence on him with music is just what runs in the family, and she's what started that, what she grew that other branch in the tree. And also just because like in the Hispanic culture, like or Latino culture, correction, in the family we all tend to like just be together like under the same household. We tend to be like at gatherings all the time. We just basically like family is number one thing. Like it's probably like family, God, and then probably the national team after that. So, and also like from like Matt, you already know from my personal experience, like I missed a grandma's funeral, and like luckily I have my other grandma still living. So yeah, so that character like literally means a lot to me in a way.
Gotcha.
And plus the way the animation and everything is really well done, by the way.
All right, number 7 for me. Not going to be on either one of your lists, but
All right.
I've got Nadine from The Edge of 17.
Nope.
Yeah.
Who?
Coming of age is my favorite movie genre. On the last episode, she was in a scene, my top scenes of the decade. Could have been 2 or 3 if I really did want to just point some of them out. But like I say, with same thing with Lady Bird or Margot Ross Spiegelman, and I'll get to it more with another choice later. But it's just like a super realistic portrayal of what it is to be a teenager. Obviously certain things don't happen, like most people's siblings don't sleep with their best friend, but that's just part of the story. But it's just feeling distant from everybody else, making huge mistakes, and feeling like you're never going to come back from them, and just afraid, of what you look like, sound like, act like, and feeling like it's never going to change to fit, at least what you like. Other people will accept you or whatever but you've got to be the one to accept it ultimately for you to find happiness. And she was snubbed for an Oscar nomination. So
my number 8 is another one that's probably not going to be in either of your list, and that's Rocky Balboa. Like Han Solo, Rocky Balboa is one of my favorite characters of all time. Rocky appeared in 2 films in this decade, and that was Creed and Creed 2. Mainly, I liked him in both, so I'm including him for both. But mainly I'm including him for Creed. I loved transitioning this iconic character that I love into this mentor role. Not the mentor type shit that we saw in Rocky 5, but this version here. This older, aged Rocky who has lost everyone around him. Everyone has died at this point except his son, but his son's moved away. He doesn't have him in his life. We find out later he has a grandkid too. He doesn't even get to have a relationship with him at this point. He's on his own. He had all this stuff and he lost it too. He's just running this restaurant that was named after Adrian. They started together. And then Creed comes along, son of Apollo, his best friend, and he gets to train him. And I love the scene, the relationship between them, and I love the scene in the locker room talking about losing Adrian. That gets me every time. Just talking about what you say.
Nothing.
Talking about him losing his wife and what he would do to get her back, and it's really emotional for me. And he made it my list at number 8.
At number 8, I think, and if I recall, I think this was one of Ian's. Ethan.
Who's Ian?
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, guys, I got the name wrong. Ethan.
How
name.
dare you
Fuck! Stop!
tolerate this rude behavior?
Stop, man! I had to speak Spanish and I listen to stuff in Italian, so calm down. All right. I'm just gonna say homeboy over there, Ethan. He mentioned Lady Bird as one of the honorable mentions. His honorable mentions, but I will name her in my number 8.
Okay.
Just to add on top of it, he said, "We all have dreams. We all have things we aspire to be, even if they're ridiculous at the time, or if they're ridiculous to our parents, our friends. You know, we're still gonna pursue them, even if they're like a I don't know, like, you know, when you're 5 years old, you kind of say like, oh, I'm gonna be a firefighter, I want to be a policeman, or like an astronaut.
Yeah.
Even if it becomes like a dream like that, it's, you know, like you still want to pursue it. But and also like this is the kind of
Now on to my number 7, and that is Jacob Palmer from Crazy Stupid Love.
Wow.
I was thinking about it.
That is crazy high.
I'm shocked it's not on your list. He's not.
He was he was lower down after honorable mentions.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Insane.
I haven't watched this movie in a while, so you know, maybe I'll rewatch it and I'll be like, oh, why did I put him on this list? Or maybe, you know, I'll think I should have put him higher. I don't know. But yeah, I remember this was one of the first films that I watched. Not the first film I watched with Ryan Gosling, but during his resurgence back in 2011, that I was like, wow, I really like Ryan Gosling. Because this character is just so cool. And that's like one of the things you mentioned earlier about John Wick. One of the reasons I like Palmer here, just so cool, charismatic in the film, comedic, but he also has an emotional side to him too, and a backstory that helps you explain why he is the way he is. I think he steals the movie. Although Steve Carell's great in it too, Emma Stone's great, Julianne Moore, but Ryan Gosling in his supporting role steals the film.
And Kevin Bacon.
I don't know about that. Jacob Palmer, yeah, comes in at number 7 for me for Crazy Stupid Love.
At number 7, I have Mysterio from Spider-Man. Yeah, that's right. Let me explain to you here in a bit.
Okay.
Now, I personally think Mysterio is up there as the likes of Thanos.
Whoa.
Personally, calm down. Personally.
Hmm.
Same thing how I feel about Zemo being up there as well.
With Thanos? Oh,
Yeah,
man, you hadn't even mentioned Loki yet.
Loki's. I mean, I can't. I don't know. No, but like I think Mysterio, like for me, is just kind of like how for me, I think I just look at him as like, what if we had like a villain like that in real life? Is like, you know, like the way he carries himself, like to give that facade, like to Skrull version of Nick Fury and Peter Parker. He's all like confident. He's well spoken. Like he's serious and stuff. And like how you look at today's society, people will literally fall to anything as long as you know what the hell you're talking about. And if you seem like, all right, this guy's not losing his fucking mind. He's just a guy, like, he's not going to beat you physically. Like, he probably can, but he has to, like, put his illusions and everything. But this is a guy that literally he was just like, how can I break you mentally? Like, do I have to, like, lie about, like, lie? Do I have to play with your, like, emotions when it comes to your friends, family, or just whatever, like, literally just twitches you? And I really, like, adore villains that are like that. Like I mentioned earlier, anyone can literally come back from like a physical beating. Like if one of y'all got beat up in a bar, you guys will come back from that. Like
I don't know. Probably not for Thanos.
Probably like the first.
I don't think I'm coming back.
I mean, Thanos, like obviously not, but like if you got beat up like in the first night, you're gonna question your life. But after that, if it happens again, you're obviously gonna be prepared.
Ethan, what you got at number 6?
Whoa. All right, so this one, like I said, we were talking about a little bit before. For number 6, I have Magneto.
I forgot you had that.
About him.
But I'm only I split a little bit from you. Like, you have Han Solo, the older and the younger. Like, I would have split those up, even though it's the same character. Like, it has like a totally different vibe to me. And that's how I feel about Magneto with Michael Fassbender's performance and him in those movies. Like, even though it's technically the same character as Ian McKellen played, I don't even look at it as on the same level. Or appreciate, like, if we did the top 10 of the 2000s, that Magneto performance would not be on my top 10 characters. It's just like what Michael Fassbender brought to it, like what was written for him. Like, I was able to more understand him as a character and less as a villain. Like, with his backstory, you were given more in depth, how he was treated during the Holocaust, and then how he sees people with power, and then how people with power look at people who seem different. And he knows just, what could happen with that as a, like, yeah. This is the only one where I kept someone, like I say, if you do want to consider it from another decade, but I would keep this version separate for me.
My number 6 is Mia Dolan from La La Land. What you got to say, man?
You're getting some deep cuts I did not expect.
Yeah, Mia, she's my favorite character in La La Land. Love her.
Steelbook, since Abel wants to show off his Blu-ray.
Oh man, it's across the room. I gotta get up.
Keep it on your desk for next.
Yeah, you just keep waiting, dude. Yeah, you just keep waiting.
I'll bring it next time.
Incredible performance from Emma Stone.
Okay.
I really love the character, especially the whole film being in LA, dealing with Hollywood, her dealing with being an actress, struggling actress, following your dreams. All of that really worked for me, and I love the music in it. Really glad she won the Oscar, and just ultimately she came to my number 6 on my list.
At number 6, I have Cliff Booth.
Oh, there it is. That reaction right there was priceless.
Well, at least I got him in my top 10. All right, so chill the hell out.
Okay.
He's my number 3.
Well, he's my number 1, so I'm glad we're getting this out of the way here.
All right. Fuck. All right. You know what, Matt? You go last since you have a number 1, because I know you probably have a poster of him up your ceiling.
I just have this poster on my wall over here of the film.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know. Like, we already talked about it like thousands of times why this character is just the best. Like, man, you can literally, like, I don't know, like, add him to that group of James Bond, John Wick, Palmer, Cliff Booth. Like, those guys are gonna kill at the nightclub.
Yeah.
Cliff is literally gonna kill at the nightclub.
Yeah. Literally gonna kill at the nightclub.
Like you mentioned, one of the reasons he's so high up there for me is just he's so cool. What Brad Pitt brings to that character is just every scene. The way he carries himself, the way he dresses, everything this character has been through, and you don't know everything that's happened. The whole situation with his wife, you don't know what really.
Care. That's how
you
cool.
Don't care. Like, as and the more you watch it, you don't care. The more you watch, because the first time I watched it, I tried to come up with one thing, and then I changed it, and then like at this point, it's like
we're never gonna know.
Well, I was listening to Tarantino talk about it too, and like either way you go about it, there's a story there to look at and still root for him.
Yeah.
But beyond that, still, like, he is so cool that it doesn't matter, and you keep wanting to follow him and caring about this character. And the performance, like the way he acts at the end, love that performance. With when he smokes the cigarette, all of that is just incredible for me.
Number 5. All right, Abel, you ready to talk? Because it's on yours. I've got Captain America.
Son of a. I had him number 1, so this is how Matt felt.
That's what you get. See, y'all, my number 1's not going to be on y'all, so I get to talk forever. Captain America, hands down the best trilogy in the MCU.
Goddamn right.
Not going to change.
yeah, like this guy, like it's not like the like man, obviously like yeah, like the body and everything is a plus, but it's just like his moral code and things what makes him special. Like this guy
Yes.
literally like came from like getting his butt beat in the streets of Brooklyn to like literally like leading the charge in the biggest army in the universe.
But it's the fact that he got a beating in Brooklyn and he knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, like he
But
didn't get
he stood
like
there and he took it.
yeah, he was just like it's just kind of like all right, like I'm already here and just like let's finish it, whether it's a good or bad outcome. I'm
So
gonna stay here
I
to
can
the
do
end.
this all day.
Yeah, and
Um, and like I say, that's before he actually became Captain America, and it just transcended his character to me above anybody else.
yeah, and like
Like I say, I know Tony is your favorite. I know. But it's just even I don't know. I just if we're making a list of overall characters, Iron Man and Tony Stark might be on mine top 10 maybe. It'll be a hard press, but
yeah,
like Captain America would absolutely be in there.
yeah, and also like the reason why he's Captain America is not because like he was in the army or just because he's American. He's Captain America's like of his code. Like he's just like he's not just what like every American, but like any person in the world will aspire to be like to be the better versions of themselves. And that's in a way what like
Which I
what America represents like like opportunity like and like
Should
better yourself.
represent.
Yeah.
But yeah, number 5, Captain America. I knew it was going to be on your list, so go ahead and bust it out, just like Cliff Booth.
going to my number 5 is another MCU character, and I hope that it's on your list. That's Thanos.
Number 2, baby.
Yeah. Just a badass. One of the best villains of all time. Definitely one of the best cinematic villains, up there with Darth Vader. Definitely, I would still say Darth Vader's better, but he's, the Darth Vader of this generation. But a little bit differently because, Darth Vader has a redemption arc and Thanos does not. But
Not yet.
I have him. He's appeared in several MCU films, but mainly Infinity War and Endgame. But the best, cinematic on-screen version of him was Infinity War. Because that was a different character. It was the same character, but a different timeline than the one we get in Endgame.
Now, okay.
I mean, same character. So like, I still like him in Endgame, but the motivations and everything were different for the one in Infinity War.
I have him on here for both, but if you wanted to split them up, and he's still going to be at number 2 for Infinity War,
right?
Like but if you wanted Endgame, I mean, he would still probably make my top 10. But I kept them both together.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, I kept them both together. His arc in Infinity War was incredible, from the opening of that film to the ending with him and the child Gamora. It's just what an incredible journey. I mean, he really does lead the film in Infinity War. It's really following his journey. What Josh Brolin brings to that with his motion capture, his performance, his voice, the way all of the other characters go up against him, and how people are afraid of him. You feel him when he comes on screen, right? Yeah. Like even when you don't even see him on screen, like when they just know he's there, like in Wakanda, it's like he's here.
Bro, like when that scene started, you knew like he's not fucking around this time.
No. Like, is he on your list?
He is not.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, I had 3 left on my list, so yeah.
I do too. I have my 4th, 3rd, and 2nd.
All right, one of my well, basically at my last 3. 3 will be 4 or whatever. Will be Thor from basically all the movies. This guy literally like goes from like trying to become king, trying to become worthy. Then he goes from like with the love thing. Then he goes trying to like prevent something in the future, which the other people keep going like, you cannot prevent it. It's going to happen either way. But he still goes for it. Then he saves his people. Then he goes from like losing like half his people like during the beginning of Infinity War, and like he loses his brother in the process. And then by that time, obviously, like he like is put, plus including his mom and his friends and his father as well at top of it. Then with like at the time for him, it's just kind of like, all right, like everyone else is just like MIA. But and then like from Infinity War, like I remember for Wakanda, like take away from like it being a pretty cool scene. Like this is just a guy, like he has nothing else to lose. Like he knows he has the weapon to kill Thanos, and he's just like, all right, I have the weapon, but at the same time, I have nothing to lose. Like I'm here for blood. Like Thanos can put a couple scratches on me, but I'm not gonna go down till like he literally kills me. Like this man will fight till he's paralyzed, and we already know what happens from there. And then he just becomes like, just like he's just mentally not there. Like just because he wanted to say something to the guy that that gave him his worst ass beating of his life. He just I think he just let his ego get the best of him. But either way, I think he's just like, I'm so excited to see what they do with him next. And like this guy has literally become like literally one of the best developed characters.
On to our number 4, I think. I've got Alien.
Yep.
Spring Breakers.
My number 4.
Abel, you're missing out.
Just a wild character here, and just one of the most unique of the decade, I think.
So completely terrifying in all the right ways. Like there's a person like this out there.
Yeah, you're not wrong. There are people.
Shorts of every color, dark tannin oils. It's just amazing.
This performance was incredible from Franco. Like he should have been nominated, and I think win for his performance in Spring Breakers back in 2013.
Yeah, just incredible. Love the dialogue.
Right. We already talked about the scene, the piano scene.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Just the scenes with the girls, how creepy he is. But he's funny in scenes too. But then he's also has those scenes where he like holds himself against, Gucci Mane in the club.
And you never know, like in the creepy scenes, if he's supposed to be creepy.
Yeah,
or you don't. Being sincere, you don't know. Like if it was a normal, looking person, you'd probably be like, "Oh, that's a good guy." But the way he looks, nah, man, get away from me. Just get out of here. I'll stay in jail for the 30 days or whatever it was.
Why y'all acting suspicious?
Yeah. Yeah.
In the car, I'll let you guys play Beyonce.
Yeah. Y'all my soulmates. And then he just gets murdered.
Oh, spoiler.
You haven't seen it now, you're not going to watch it. And then I would dare say 50% of the people that do watch it don't make it to the end. So.
Well, I think that adds something to his character too that I didn't like originally, but now I do. It's just like
just out of nowhere,
just dead. This whole character, like you think he's such a badass, and he's gonna walk in there and like help them kill all these people. He's out. He doesn't even make it to the house.
I don't even think he fires a shot.
He doesn't.
And
he doesn't even lift a gun. He just gets.
You were like, he's all right. He's all right.
He's gonna get back up.
Nope.
Bullet to the head, man. He is gone.
Soon before anything starts, bam, done. On the dot, just nothing.
I'll never understand. Like somebody's running at you. You're there to do that, and like somebody's running at you. I don't know why nobody raised a gun.
I already have my gun out if I know what I'm there to do. I mean,
you touch the cock, you get the Glock, bitch. Wow, wow, wow.
I think he needed contacts, but he hadn't went to the eye doctor. Didn't see the guy running towards him.
Well, it's like you were a very standout individual, so they know who you are. So you're not friendly.
Probably saw your boat come up to the dock too.
Probably.
Lots of lights out there, so I don't know. Moving on to my number 3 is one that you mentioned in your honorable mentions, and that's Ben Solo / Kylo Ren.
Yep.
I have him down for The Force Awakens and Last Jedi. But, I'll go ahead and talk about it. Like, he's the only good thing about Rise of Skywalker. The only good thing about that film. And I do like seeing his character in that film. I like most of what happens with his character too until he dies. And that's just really fucking lame. But everything before that leading up to and including his turn with the dream sequence of Han. I love all that. But his character arc in the trilogy is amazing. I feel like if I had to pick one film to look at to pick, it would be The Last Jedi for Ben Solo. I love the let the past die motto that he has going on, kind of.
Ironic, huh?
Too soon.
Really love that, and just how the past has affected him and his family and everything like that. And Adam Driver's incredible performance. So that's my number 3.
Okay, Sebastian from La La Land. Yeah, man, this is just man trying to like accomplish his dream. He had to make a few compromises, and for a moment he was just kind of like, all right, I got a stable job, I got a woman. But obviously after that he was just like, well, shit, like I came all the way down to LA to make a dream. Might as well just happen. If my other girl's gonna make it happen, so yeah, it's like I cannot add on top of it, I guess. But we already talked about this movie. We already talked about the characters thousands of times, so that's pretty much all I have to say.
Okay.
I find it interesting that you guys didn't have both characters.
To me, it's tough because like I do like both of the characters a lot, and if I made a list of like 25 for the decade, they'd probably both be on there.
My number 2 would be Luke Bloom from Nightcrawler.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he was my number 17, so he almost made the honorable mentions.
I didn't even think about him as far as like putting him on the list. Performance was incredible, but like when I was thinking about the character, I'm like, I don't really like this guy.
Exactly. That is
Thanos. See, Thanos is like, he's got some points.
He has some points, bro. From an economic standpoint, that shit is not going to work for the long term, my guy. That shit is only going to work for like what, 50 years at best.
For Thanos,
keep snapping, bro. I don't know.
We all saw what happened to Tony, so
took us thousands of years, so I think we could last again for a while.
Nah, but like all seriousness though, man, like you guys remember when he went to that to go to that old dude like in the trailer, right? He was asking for a job, right?
Yeah.
And the dude was just going like, I don't hire fucking thieves. But he comes back later to the dude to buy some stuff, and he literally sells shit to him. And for me, it's just and for me, like that, like Luke Bloom shows like how like how you can like say like how like today's society where it's just like we'll only do things for others or for ourselves as long as if it benefits us at the end. And for me, that's just what I love about the character. Like he just exposes the flaws in people.
I do love his
driven.
Just do whatever you got.
He's really well driven, and the guy, this guy honestly, like if you ever go to a job interview, this guy does have some things you can use in a job interview, but in a non-creepy way.
Yeah.
Have some social skills for one.
Yeah.
The only one I have left is my number 2, so I'm gonna go ahead and say it, and that is Tony Stark, Iron Man. Definitely my favorite own like cinematic comic book character. The way Robert Downey Jr. gave us this character over the past decade is incredible. Obviously, he started it in the last decade, 2008. So I was like, at first, he was one of those people or characters I was looking at that I didn't know if I wanted to put him on the list because he did start in 2008, but he only had one film in that decade. Most of his, character arc has been in this decade. So I decided to put him on the list, and he was high up there for me.
Pretty
From how he starts off in Iron Man, but even if you wanted to look at this decade and look at Iron Man 2, the character development from that film to Endgame is just, it's incredible. And obviously, we get to Endgame, and he's went from being that billionaire, kind of like isolating himself all the time, to having a family with Pepper, having a child, and then ultimately sacrificing himself for the whole world. So
Yeah. And that's like another thing with like his character. He would be on for me for the last the decade 2000s. But it's like little things like that I wished. Like, I'm glad that he was the one that was, sacrificed himself at the end of Endgame. But I wish they had saved that, because they kept, he was always the one that kind of saved them in Avengers, and I just wish they would have saved that, just to echo the big scene with him and Cap in Avengers, where he said, "You're not the one to make the sacrifice play."
He's rather
Yeah. Tony Stark is R.I.P.
He's coming back though for a cameo, so
He still did.
Yeah, Black Widow. All right, Ethan.
Number one.
Got your number one.
The only one that's got a number one left.
Yeah, I know. Thanks. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Charlie from The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Yep.
I did think about adding one of the characters from the movie. So
One of my favorite characters of all time. Probably in the top 5 for me.
Wow.
I think I saw this movie two times in theaters. I wish I went more. But just relate to that character like so much on different levels, everything he goes through. Just like the way he feels, so like the relationships with his family, other characters, like actions he takes here and there. It's not for everybody, but top there for me.
Definitely a movie I need to revisit too. I saw it in theaters twice, I think, too.
Yeah. It was originally a 5-star, then it went down to 4.5, and then I rewatched it, I think, last year, and it went to 5 stars. Again, my top 25 films again. Mainly because of this character and how much I can relate to him. But overall, the film is pretty great.
All right, guys, that is our top shelf episode for this week. We rank our favorite characters of this decade. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time. We have a new top shelf episode every Tuesday.